Very good afternoon. You're watching the midday news on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Ashwarya Kapoor with you. Let us start the news bulletin with the headlines. Over 65% voting in last phase of Lok Sabha polls. West Bengal sees the highest 77% turnout. 76% in Madhya Pradesh. Over 66% turnout recorded in all 7 phases. Political fates of 8,049 candidates sealed. BJP delegation meets the Election Commission over poll violence in West Bengal. Demands the central forces in the state till model code of conduct ends. Seeks repolling at several booths. BSP leader Om Prakash Rajbhar sacked from UP cabinet. Governor Ram Naik accepts Yogi Adityanath's recommendation to immediately remove the backward class welfare and Divyangjan empowerment minister. CM also seeks removal of other BSP ministers from the government. Market surge a day after Lok Sabha polls conclude. Sensex opens at 38,831, up by 900 points. Nifty rallies over 200 points. Walls past 11,000. Rupee opens higher by 73 paise at 69.49 per dollar. And US President Donald Trump's stern warning to Iran says war with US would be the end of Iran. Saudi Arabia calls urgent meeting of Arab nations over fresh tensions with Iran. The top story this afternoon, a BJP delegation met the Election Commission today over incidents of poll violence in the state of West Bengal. The BJP has urged the Election Commission to order the presence of Central Armed Police Forces in the state of West Bengal till the model code of conduct period ends. The BJP also asked the Election Commission to a special observer for 5 states, including West Bengal, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka and Chhattisgarh.
हमने रिक्वेस्ट किया माननीय कमीशन को कि सभी ईवीएम स्ट्रांग रूम्स पे सेंट्रल फोर्सेस बड़े पैमाने पे तैनात करी जाए और काउंटिंग तक और काउंटिंग के बाद भी जब तक मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट है तब तक ये फोर्सेस पश्चिम बंगाल में रखी जाएं, जिससे लोगों को वहाँ आश्वस्त किया जा सके कि कोई हिंसा टॉलरेट नहीं की जाएगी, कोई हिंसा की घटना को अलाउ नहीं किया जाएगा। इसके अलावा काउंटिंग की प्रक्रिया को फ्री एंड फेयर रखने के लिए हमने ओडिशा, पश्चिम बंगाल, कर्नाटक, मध्य प्रदेश और छत्तीसगढ़ इन 5 राज्यों में रिक्वेस्ट किया है कि जो अभी के इलेक्शन ऑब्जर्वर्स हैं, जो पुलिस ऑब्जर्वर्स हैं, इनको तो बड़े पैमाने पर तैनात किया जाए, लेकिन इसके अलावा स्पेशल ऑब्जर्वर नियुक्त किए जाएं। इन 5 राज्यों में सभी काउंटिंग स्टेशंस पे दिल्ली से स्पेशल ऑब्जर्वर इलेक्शन कमीशन इंडिपेंडेंट ऑब्जर्वर भेजे जो इंश्योर करे कि काउंटिंग में कोई गड़बड़ ना हो, फ्री एंड फेयर हो और उसकी सैंक्टिटी पूरी तरीके से ऑब्जर्व हो।
Remember, incidents of violence were reported in various parts of West Bengal during the last phase of elections as well. There were reports of attack at the cars of BJP's Diamond Harbour constituency candidate Nilanjan Roy and BJP candidate from Jadavpur, Anupam Hazra as well. The BJP has accused the TMC of letting loose widespread violence in the last phase of the Lok Sabha elections in West Bengal. The BJP has also demanded repolling at several booths in 8 out of the 9 constituencies, and left parties in the Congress have also expressed concern at the rampant violence in the state during the polls. They have also demanded repolling at several polling booths. All right, our colleague Panchanan Mishra is tracking all those developments from the Election Commission very, very closely. A very good afternoon, Panchanan. A senior BJP leader delegation today met with the Election Commission and they have, of course, expressed concern over the incidents of poll violence, and they have put forward certain demands as well. What more updates can you give us?
First, understand that after the series of violence during the polling in West Bengal, the biggest concern of the party is that now, after the polling, the counting should be free and fair. So, for this counting, entire counting process, BJP delegation today met. In delegation, Nirmala Sitharaman was there, and also PIYUSH Goyal was also there. And they met Election Commission and demanded that there should be special observers for this polling in West Bengal, and also observers from Delhi should be sent there to expedite free and fair this counting. And as we are aware that the model code of conduct is up to 27th of May. So till then, the security forces, paramilitary forces should be there, so that there should not be any fault in the counting process. So West Bengal was focused for this delegation, the agenda of this delegation, but also the 5 states BJP delegation has mentioned, and in which in that West Bengal is also there, but Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Karnataka, BJP demanded that there also a special observer should be deputed for this counting process, and all the process should be made very transparent. So it's a series of meeting of the BJP delegation to Election Commission, and the focus is only on that West Bengal, and after polling, the focus is on that transparent counting.
All right. Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those updates there from the Election Commission's office in New Delhi. And voting for the 7th and final phase concluded on Sunday with over 65% voter turnout. An estimated over 10 crore Indians voted in the Lok Sabha constituencies that went to polls yesterday, 59 of them in the states of Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand and Chandigarh. Punjab, which voted in the single phase for its 13 Lok Sabha seats, recorded a voter turnout of 65.85%. And the 13 seats in Uttar Pradesh that went to polls in the last phase, which also included the candidate of Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Varanasi, saw 58.01% turnout in the state. And talking about other states, well, the 9 seats of West Bengal saw a voter turnout of 76.69%, and as far as Bihar is concerned, in the last phase it recorded a voter percentage of 53.36%. In Madhya Pradesh's 8 seats, an estimated 75.54% voted, and in Himachal Pradesh, where single phase voting was held in the 4 Lok Sabha seats, saw 71.52% voter turnout, and the 3 constituencies of Jharkhand that went to polls yesterday saw a turnout of 71.16%. And the single Lok Sabha seat in Chandigarh saw a turnout of 63.57%. Remember, counting of votes will take place on Thursday.
In disseminating information to all the voters, and all the crucial information was given to the Election Commission through the media and also to all the stakeholders. I'm immensely thankful to the millions of voters who are the most important stakeholders for the Election Commission of India, and they have lived up to the ideals set forth in the Constitution of India. They came in a very large number. We hope that this turnout will be much better than what it was in the last election. Braving the harshness of weather, scorching heat and impediment of other kinds, they came forward in a large number and voted all across the phases in different rounds of elections. We are extremely thankful to the senior citizens and persons with disabilities and the women voters. Their fortitude and resolute will be there to help us building this electoral process stronger. We are thankful to all the field machinery, all the presiding officers, all the booth level officers, all the volunteers, returning officers, district election officers, chief electoral officers, and all other state nodal officers. They have toiled day and night despite adverse circumstances. at times with one goal in mind, the smooth conduct of free and fair election. Our thanks to lakhs of the security personnel from the CPF, police and other organizations. It was a task arduous and exhausting, traveling hundreds of kilometers in order to ensure an atmosphere of peace and reassurance to every voter. We are thankful to all other stakeholders, all civil society organizations who helped us in connecting and engaging with the voters directly.
And now a look at all the numbers and voter turnout for all the phases of the 17th Lok Sabha elections. An estimated 61 crore Indians out of the total 90.99 crore people eligible to vote exercised their franchise during the 7-phased general election, making the total voter turnout in all the 7 phases over 66%. Now, these include 1.9 crore young voters, that is in the age group of 18 to 19 years. And according to the Election Commission, in phase 1, the turnout was 69.61%. It decreased marginally to 69.44% in phase 2 and 68.4% in the third round. In phase 4, the turnout was 65.5%. In the 5th phase, the turnout dipped to 64.16% and it went up marginally to 64.4% in the penultimate and the 6th phase. And the final and the 7th phase saw a turnout of over 64%. And with this, voting concluded in 542 out of 543 Lok Sabha seats. Election for one seat, that is Vellore in Tamil Nadu, has been deferred over alleged use of money power. Over 8,000 candidates contested in these elections, and the turnout in 2014 was a record high 66.4%. Apart from the general elections, the by-polls to 13 assembly seats in 5 states also concluded on Sunday. Now, these include 5 assembly seats in West Bengal, 4 in Tamil Nadu, 2 in Karnataka, and 1 each in Goa and Uttar Pradesh. 77.62% polling was recorded in by-polls to 4 assembly segments of Aravakurichi, Sulur, Thirupadam Kandam, and Ottapidaram in Tamil Nadu. The by-polls are crucial as they have a bearing on the K. Palanisamy government in the state of Tamil Nadu. The ruling AIADMK needs to win a significant number of seats to retain a comfortable majority. AIADMK has a strength of 113 minus the Speaker in the House with 22 vacancies. The simple majority in the full House is 117. And social media platforms including Facebook, Twitter and WhatsApp removed a total of 909 posts during the Lok Sabha election following directions from the Election Commission. While Facebook took down 650 posts, Twitter removed over 200 posts. Of the 650 posts that were taken down by Facebook, 482 were political messages that were posted during the silence period. And other platforms like ShareChat also took down 31 objectionable posts, followed by YouTube with 5 posts, and WhatsApp removed 3 posts. 647 confirmed cases of paid news were also reported during the elections. And the Election Commission also seized unaccounted cash, illicit liquor, drugs, gold and freebies worth around 3,450 crore rupees since the Lok Sabha polls were announced on 10th of March. Now, this seizure is nearly 3 times the figures of the 2014 Lok Sabha polls, which was 1,206 crore rupees. And according to the Election Commission, of the total seizure, cash worth 839 crore rupees were seized and drugs worth 1,270 crore rupees were confiscated.
449 crores. The seizures made by all our enforcement teams starting from the date of announcement till today evening 5 p.m. The total cash seizure has been rupees 839.03 crores. Total liquor seizure is rupees 294.41 crores. Total drugs and narcotics seizure is rupees 1270.37 crores. Total precious metal and jewelry items that are used for inducement of voters stands at rupees 986.76 crores, and total freebies seizure is rupees 58.56 crores. So the grand total of all seizures made by our teams during this entire election period in 2019 elections is rupees 3,449.12 crores. Last time I only shared the figures with you, if my memory serves me right, it was 1,203 crores, 1,206 crores. Cash was 303 crores.
Well, those were all the election-related news. We'll take a very short break here. We'll be back with more news on the other side. Stay tuned.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
लोकसभा चुनाव के 7 फेरों के बाद अब ईवीएम में दर्ज है जनता का फैसला। इस दौरान कहीं प्रत्याशी के रंग में रंगा रहा इलाका, तो कहीं कहीं मुद्दों ने भी मोर्चा संभाला। मतों की गणना में किस नेतृत्व का इशारा होगा, कैसे गठबंधन होंगे, किस तरह से मजबूत लोकतंत्र हमारा होगा। चौकन्ना जनमत कैसे उकेरेगा 17वीं संसद की तस्वीर। जन जन का मत क्या कहेगा, सुनिएगा 23 मई को मेरे यानी डॉक्टर शिप्रा माथुर के साथ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
News from Uttar Pradesh, where Suhail Dev, Bharatiya Samaj Party leader Om Prakash Rajhar has been sacked from the state cabinet. This after Governor Ram Naik accepted Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath's recommendation seeking immediate sacking of Rajbhar from his position of the Backward Class Welfare and Divyangjan Empowerment Minister. Yogi Adityanath also recommended that all other Suhail Dev Bharatiya Samaj Party members holding the rank of Minister of State shall be immediately removed. A leader of ally SBSP, Rajbhar, has been making controversial statements against the BJP and also Yogi Adityanath. And domestic markets today soared today with Sensex gaining more than 11,000 points in the late afternoon session. At noon, the Sensex traded 2.72% higher, while the Nifty was up 300.1 points at 11,707.25. Earlier, the markets opened on a high with the Sensex rising 951 points to hit 38,882 points. The Nifty also gained 284 points to open at 11,691. The rupee also appreciated to 69.44 against the dollar in the trade in the day, marking a gain of 79 paise compared with the previous close. Vice President M. Naidu has expressed his anguish over the low quality of political debates during the just concluded election campaign. Speaking at a function in Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh, he said that politicians should remember that they are only rivals and must not resort to personal attacks. He added that all leaders must focus on larger issues of public concern and respect the institutions of the Prime Minister, the Chief Minister, Leader of the Opposition, and other public representatives. He appealed to the legislators, political parties, institutions, and people in public life to uphold high standards and values. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also urged agricultural universities to step up research on improving their yields. Speaking at the inaugural session of All India Coordinated Research Group's annual group meet in Guntur, the Vice President called for increasing the productivity of pulses for achieving self-sufficiency. The Vice President stressed on the need to improve crop production techniques and bring additional lands under pulses production. Observing that the legumes were an essential component in Indian cropping pattern, Vice President Naidu said that India was the world's largest producer, accounting for 34% of the area and 24% of the production.
And I am very happy that pulses as well as cereals production also goes in similar manner. You must focus more on productivity in pulses. The total consumption of various pulses and pulse production in India is about 21 to 22 million tons. India's annual pulse production is about 18.45 million, covering an area of about 33.47 million hectares, majority of which falls under rain-fed, resource-poor and harsh environments frequently prone to drought and other abiotic stress conditions. To meet the demand of pulses, India is at present importing about 4.2 million tons from different countries, including the USA and Russia. In order to ensure self-sufficiency, the pulse requirements in the country is projected to be 32 million tons by 2030. However, import of pulses declined from 100 lakh tons in 16-17 to 56.5 lakh tons in 17-18, resulting in a saving of foreign exchange amount of 9,775 crores.
International news now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison on his victory in the general elections. In a tweet, Prime Minister Modi wished the people of Australia all the success under Morrison's dynamic leadership. He said that as strategic partners, he is looking forward to continue working together closely to further strengthen the relationship between India and Australia. Remember, Morrison is close to securing a majority government as the election's final results are being counted. His Conservative coalition has defied polls and is leading with 77 seats. Only 76 are needed for a majority. Remember, Australia holds elections every 3 years, but with infighting, there is no Prime Minister who has succeeded in serving a full term since 2007. And the top international focus, US President Donald Trump has issued a strong warning to Iran, tweeting on Sunday that military engagement with the United States would mean the official end of Iran. Donald Trump's tweet comes amid rising tensions between Washington and Tehran. Earlier this month, the United States deployed an aircraft carrier strike group and a bomber task force to the Middle East in response to what it called were clear indications that Iran or its proxies were planning an attack on the US forces in the region. The Pentagon also announced on 10th of May that it was sending a Patriot anti-missile battery to the area as well as a further deterrent. Then on Wednesday, the State Department all the non-emergency personnel at the US Embassy in Baghdad and the US Consulate in Iraq to leave. The latest frictions come after Iran suspended its commitments under the 2015 international nuclear deal and threatened to resume the production of enriched uranium, which is used to make nuclear weapons. The deal aimed to cut sanctions on Iran in exchange for an end to its nuclear program, but the US unilaterally withdrew from the agreement last year. And that is the wrap on this edition of Midday News. Thanks so much for your time.